Lots of important people have lots of important things to say about the STEM Academy. But here, we're here to give you the real facts of what to expect in your 4 years at STEM. First tip, kids, learn how to drink coffee. So for your freshman year, one of the biggest issues that you'll have that is normal is that you will be confused about everything. So the best tip for the year that I can think of is that you need to pay attention to what your teachers say. So this pertains to a lot of things like due dates, because in this year, since it's technology, you'll start submitting things online. So you need to be aware of where drop boxes are and what time they close and how lenient teachers are with late submissions. Try not to submit anything late your freshman year. I did that, a lot of people do that. Again, it's something you need to adjust to, submit things online. So just pay attention to when things are due. Another thing that you need to pay attention to that your teachers say is you need to pay attention to project criteria. So at STEM, you get a lot more freedom when it comes to essay topics or projects or just a lot of things are you get to decide what you're doing. So with that, you need to be aware of what the criteria for what you're doing is, like the rubric, the instructions, to make sure, because that's what you will be graded on. So you need to make sure that you're following that right. So pay attention to your teachers, talk to them, make sure you know when things are due, how they're due, what things are. Just make sure you know what's going on around you. Another tip for the year, is that there is going to be a lot of writing. In your freshman year, you do a lot of essay writing. You work with CERs and OPVLs. There's a lot of acronyms. While you don't need to know what these things are right now, when you get into your freshman year, those are going to become things that you need to be aware of how to write. In your freshman year, you're also going to be doing time writings for the first time, I think, but they're not too bad once you get the hang of it. In freshman year, I think you're allowed to bring outlines to time writings with you. And just in case you don't know this already, time writings are when you write an essay in a designated time period in class. You'll have to do that, and you might get an outline, you might not, depending on the teacher. But just work on your writing skills. Writing is a huge part of this school. Another thing in freshman year is that in freshman year is the only year that physics and engineering are mandatory. So they swap out the classes a lot. So if in freshman year you decide you don't like physics or engineering, that's not the end of the world. So work through it for the year. If you decide it's not for you, you don't have to take it once you get to 11th or 12th grade. Team building activities will happen. They'll probably last about halfway through the year before the teachers give up. Team building activities aside, do get along with the other children. Get along with the kiddos. There's a lot of group projects. You got to know each other. It's a pretty small school. You'll probably be able to recognize faces by the end of freshman year. So get along with them. Work in group projects. Work together. Don't be a slacker. Don't be the one kid that doesn't do their work. Do your work. And also, if you are the one person that's doing the work in a group project, tell the teacher. And 9th grade teachers are pretty strict with everyone has to do their work. So if someone's not doing their work, tell somebody. Don't do things for everybody and don't do nothing. Work. I know that this is the first year that you guys are also getting a computer for school, but don't let that take away from schoolwork. Like, pay attention in class. Don't just stare at your computer the whole time. Teachers know when you're playing games. Don't play games all through English class. You won't know what's going on. It's very important to know what's going on. You can get in trouble with some teachers if you're playing games or not doing your work. And last of all, for freshman year, ask for help. It's a hard transition into school. It's a new school. For you, as going from middle school to high school, that's a transition. In addition, it's a STEM school, so that's even more hard to transition with. So ask for help if you're having help, and know that it's okay if you fail. My first time writing in freshman year, I got a 25% on it. It's okay to fail. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Good luck.
So, obviously, freshman year is a much more difficult transition from middle school, and you'll have a lot more work. One thing that helps, though, is that sophomore year, you'll be a lot more used to how much work you have in the course load. So it does get easier to manage how much work you have because you've already gone through an entire year of it. Something different compared to freshman year, though, is that you'll be taking biology and chemistry together. instead of only one science, which was physics, in freshman year. The teachers at the beginning of the year will say that biology and chemistry build off of each other throughout the year. That's not at all true. It doesn't do that. You'll find similarities between the two, but they're very minor and they won't really help you with one course or the other. So you have to continue to pay attention to what your teachers are saying, and it'll be fine, really. And if you don't like biology or chemistry, it's really not the end of the world because you get to choose which science you take junior year, so you'll be fine. There is definitely a lot of IB preparation sophomore year, so you'll still have a lot of timed writings like you did freshman year, because a lot of the IB tests in May of your senior year will be timed writings. Every test is timed, and so you have to get used to writing like that. So you'll still do a lot of timed writings in class to help prepare for that. The amount of essays that you do compared to freshman year will probably be a lot lower. So it's not as bad as freshman year. You still have to do it, and it does help. No matter how much you hate it, it really does help with the IB exams. One of the biggest projects sophomore year will be the mock trial. It is in December, and everyone makes a huge deal out of it. Everyone thinks that because it's worth so many points that you're going to fail because you're going to mess something up. It's really not that bad. If you try your best and you're putting the effort in to get the work done and make a good argument for your side, you will be fine. I can't say for sure whether you will be able to pick your role or not. I know some classes when I was a sophomore got to choose which roles or have some input to what roles they had. I know for me, our class was assigned our roles, and I was the lucky one that got to be the Chief Justice, so that was a fun time. It's really not that bad, though, if you're using your class time and you're communicating well with everyone, then it's really not that bad other than having to dress up. But it's definitely a much larger scale of group work, so you have to make sure that you're not doing somebody's job for them, because it'll stress you out more. It's not fair to you, and other people should be taking responsibility for their jobs because that's what you have to do in the real world. So don't just yell at people because they're not doing their job. Like, you should actually just talk to them first. So, like, the biggest things for sophomore year are the mock trial, which really isn't bad, more timed writings because it's good IB prep. You'll have a lot of mock papers for specific subjects in preparation for the IB, and it's really not that bad, to be honest. It will seem ridiculous as you go through it, but looking back on it, it really wasn't bad. I think the teachers are also more lenient in sophomore year than they are freshman year, or at least personally, that's what I had the experience of. But yeah, you'll be fine if you do your work and take your teachers seriously and your work seriously. Then you will be fine for the IB.
So some tips for surviving junior year. The best thing you could do is to work on your IB stuff early, whether that be your EE, your IAs, or your CAS, which I know that's a lot of acronyms, and for a while I was having trouble with it myself. For your EEs, you really want to work on that over the summer from your junior into senior year. It'll really help and take a lot off your plate for later. I know myself, I was one of the people who was trying to make it up and finish it closer to the due date rather than having a lot of time to look over it, to make edits and to make it better. And the E can definitely really help set you up to do better overall in your IB testing because it can give you those extra points that you need to get the diploma. especially with CAS, don't wait last minute. You want to, it's 150 hours it's a lot to do, so you don't want to push it off to the last couple months or even weeks. So you really want to try and get those done as quick as possible. Make sure to keep good logs and take pictures and work on like the presentation during, so you don't have to do that at the end, and which would then it wouldn't be as good if you have to like really, if you're on a time crunch and have to get it done as quick as possible. And then your IAs, they don't have to be complicated, just something that'll get you a good grade and that will really that's actually doable and not like outside of something that you can do. And one thing that's really going to help you, especially with just, I know it's just with one class, but with history, make sure to do the readings. It is a huge difference into how well you do. It depends on whether or not you do the readings. It seems like a lot, but if you break it up into chunks, you'd only have to do like 15-20 minutes a night instead of an hour and a half to 2 hours if you just push it off till the last minute. So you're in your senior year. You're almost there. You just have one more year and then you're done with the IB. So honestly, it's the first half of the year that you really are going to have most of your problems, because that's when you're going to be working on your EE, you're going to be getting all your college applications out, you're going to probably have to think about where you want to go. I know I didn't know where I wanted to go till pretty far, and it definitely is a big decision and something something you definitely have to think about. So yeah, and if you didn't work on your EE over the summer, which I highly recommend, this is when you're going to be mainly when you're going to be doing it. But then when it's that, and then you're still studying for your IB tests and learning things, it can really start adding up if you don't find ways to correctly space it out and work on things before they're due and not last minute. I know I had a lot of problems with procrastination. It does not make your life any easier. I know in the moment it seems like a better thing to do, but it really is more harm than good. And then during the second half of the year, things start to slow down, or at least with classwork, because then it starts picking up to becoming more studying overall for the IB exams instead of learning new things. And then also more things start becoming due, like your EE will be more earlier in the year, but you have like CAS is then due in February, and it's just, if you don't pace things out, it could seem like a lot of work and it can feel like you're kind of like drowning in it, but if you have to find ways to space it out, and it's honestly going to be the best way to mitigate all of the problems and make sure that your senior year in high school will go a lot better. And I know it's definitely a time when you're supposed to relax, hang with friends, and things like that, but you have to make sure that you find ways to do both. Like, so instead of like just completely foregoing one or the other, do a little bit of both each night, or don't save everything up for last minute. So you'll get through it. You'll be fine. It'll be fun.